Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the GuideWell Insights Lounge. My name is Kate Warnock, and we're here at Day 2 of the Oliver Wyman Health Innovation Summit. I'm very happy to bring to you today Jonathan Hirsch. Jonathan, welcome to the interview.
Thanks so much.
Jonathan is the founder and president of Syapse, and we have some really specific questions for you because I know that you're going to be speaking today, Jonathan, around precision medicine. And I think that one thing that your company is really striving to do is to take precision medicine out of the lab environment and really operationalize it.
Yeah.
Can you explain how your company is moving that forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the most important things when you're talking about operationalizing precision medicine is how you help the physician actually utilize complex molecular and genomic data at point of care. So that is the number one critical thing that you have to do in precision medicine. So what we've built is a software platform that integrates molecular and genomic data with the patient's medical record information, whether it's in the EMR or their imaging systems or any other system that is within the four walls of the healthcare organization. And we then package that up and bring that to the physician to support their point of care decision making. So that's the first component. It's bringing the information together for the physician. The second component of 4 is providing decision support so that the physician knows how to act on that information, whether that's recommending a therapy, recommending a test that needs to be done, or even recommending a clinical trial that the patient might want to go on. The third component of 4 is the ability to operationalize that in a clinical workflow. So what happens today is you might have an electronic medical record system. The system doesn't support the clinical workflows needed in precision medicine, whether it's ordering of a specialty pharmaceutical or coordinating care across multiple different providers. So we provide that clinical workflow and care coordination capability. And then the fourth part, which is perhaps the most critical, is the ability to actually measure the quality improvement that's taking place. So you want to be able to say whether or not these interventions are effective. Are they improving patient outcomes? Are they improving quality of life? And if so, are they doing so while keeping costs constant or even reducing costs? So those are the 4 components to bringing precision medicine out of the lab and into clinical practice.
So it sounds like a very comprehensive end-to-end solution.
Yes.
You really start at the diagnostic end, you integrate the data, you make it actionable, and you even deliver quality outcomes or how they could go back and define quality outcomes. Can you explain for us, though, if that's looking at it maybe more from the provider side and how you're making it actionable, let's take a look at it from the consumer side. How will integrating OWHIC into a point of care system really change that patient experience?
Yeah, well, so it's really critical for the patient because if we take cancer care, which is the most obvious example of precision medicine right now being operationalized, it really impacts the consumer experience dramatically. So you get to the right drug faster, you reduce the toxic side effects of medication, and you actually improve the patient's quality of life. So one of the best examples that we have of this is actually the program that we've operationalized at Intermountain Healthcare. So at Intermountain, we partnered with them deeply on a comprehensive precision medicine program for their oncology population. And one of the key outcomes of that program is an improvement in the quality of life of their patients. So not only are the patients living longer, but they're experiencing less side effects from medication, they're out and about and able to go about their everyday lives. They don't have to spend time in the chemo infusion chair. They don't have to spend time in the hospital for adverse events and toxicities. So it's a dramatic improvement in patient quality of life.
Obviously, this is something that we would want to see scaled, right? This is going to benefit really everyone, our loved ones, anyone that would benefit from precision medicine. But the question for you is how is it that we avoid backing ourselves into yet another interoperability situation where data is siloed and we have systems that aren't talking to one another? This is a situation that we want as many people to benefit from what Syapse is offering, precision medicine can do, as possible. How do we avoid that interoperability situation and find a more collaborative path?
Yeah, so interoperability may be the #1 challenge at this point in terms of not just implementing precision medicine, but any transformational healthcare opportunity. So what we need to do is demand standards for data exchange between systems. and we need to enforce those data exchange standards. So it's not enough just to say that a patient's record can be pulled out of an EMR and the record is all unstructured, or God forbid, a fax document or a CD, which happens all the time.
Sure.
So we need to demand interoperability standards. So one of the things that we at Syapse have pioneered is an interoperability model for molecular and genomic testing. So right now what happens is, if you go and get your BRCA1 or 2 test as an example, that test report might be faxed from the lab to your provider. Or it might be a PDF, which isn't structured, computable, usable data. So what we've built at Syapse is actually the first interoperability program that's been adopted by the industry. So what we do is we actually certify testing labs as being interoperable. So they can both receive an order, which isn't that complex, but they can transmit their test results as structured data, just like any complete blood count or any standard test that you would get. So we built this interoperability program. It's been adopted by most of the major testing labs out there that are high volume, and this is a program that we're going to be working with industry leaders on in terms of spreading and having being made as an open standard. But what we need is for the rest of the clinical community to adopt similar points of view. So as an example, can we all agree on a set of key metrics for oncology that should be captured as discrete structured information and shared across medical records? Can we all agree on something similar for cardiovascular? So these are critical areas that are just starting to happen, and frankly, it's going to be the physicians and the consumers demanding access to their data that's going to help drive this forward.
Obviously another industry or player that would benefit from this would be the payers. They want to be able to measure quality outcomes. It's certainly connected to payment reform. Are you also working with the payers to help adopt and really promote that widespread standardization?
Yeah, and when you look at it from the payer perspective, they have a very rational point of view on this, which is there are conflicting expensive tests that are being ordered, and those tests are actually not transparent at all to the payer. So the payer might see a bill for an $8,000 test. They might see bills for multiple $8,000 tests, and they have no idea what it is they're being asked to pay for, and they have no idea what the clinical impact of that test really is. So our software platform has been set up to potentially provide that level of insight to the payers if that's what's appropriate for the health system and for the consumer. So one great example of this is actually, again, the work that we've done at Intermountain Healthcare, which is an integrated system where we've been able to track not just the clinical history of the patient, but their genomic testing, not the billing, but the actual test that was done and the results. We track how that impacts a care decision. So what drug that leads to. We track the outcomes of that. So is that resulting in improved survival, improved quality of life? And then we work with Intermountain on total cost of care. So that can be presented to the payer as a package that the payer can look at and evaluate in an evidence development framework. Now, this isn't all talk. What this has led to is when we started with Intermountain, they were at the same level of success rate in reimbursement of testing and drugs as everyone else, around a 10 to 15% range for specialty testing and drugs. Now they're at an 82% success rate.
Over how many years? How many years?
Over 1.5 years.
Wow.
Dramatic improvement. And the reason why is we capture the information and can prove to the payer that these interventions are working. So we're taking that model and expanding it to similar coverage with evidence development programs throughout our customer base, and you'll see some announcements about that soon.
That's a fantastic response, and I'm excited to hear where you're going to continue to advance with this. Another question for you, Jonathan. Obviously, I think that precision medicine is probably best known for the cancer population. Who else is going to benefit from this kind of science?
Yeah, so we actually have a few other areas where there's concrete work going on today. So as an example, we have a program with various different health systems, including our partners at UCSF, around rare and undiagnosed diseases. So the pediatric population is one great example of that, the NICU population. So rare and undiagnosed diseases is an area where precision medicine is taking off. Now the patient populations are a lot smaller, thankfully, than in other areas like oncology, but it's an area where genomics and precision medicine directly has a clinical impact. A second area is infectious diseases. Because if you look at pathogen detection, the best way to figure out what the pathogen truly is and to trace the infectious arc of that pathogen across a population is by sequencing the pathogen and figuring out what the pathogen actually is and getting to the right drug faster. So we have actually partnered with the University of California system under the California Precision Medicine Initiative, funded by Governor Jerry Brown, to roll out comprehensive precision medicine based approach in this area. The third and final area is cardiovascular, starting with pharmacogenetics, but moving on to other areas like AAA, cardiovascular disease, and others, where you can use not just genomics, because precision medicine is more than just genomics, it also includes the entire molecular profile of the patient. You can use the molecular profile to figure out the right drug or drug dose altering, or any other diagnostic paradigm. So those are the three areas that we're excited about. The other areas beyond that, I think the jury's still out.
All right. Well, certainly we're going to see so many more people benefit, not just from precision medicine, but it certainly sounds like from your solution that you're building as well, with it being so comprehensive and end-to-end. One more question for you, Jonathan. Yes. Where do you see healthcare 5 years from now?
Yeah, well, so we look forward to an era when we can use precision medicine to drive towards value-based care arrangements. And I think that's what you're going to see happening over the next few years, because as we in the health system recognize that getting the patient to the right diagnosis, to the right drug faster, that actually leads to an improvement in patient outcomes and actually leads to a reduction in total cost of care. So what we look forward to is seeing how the healthcare system changes to accommodate a payment model that is more comprehensive, that is willing to pay for more expensive testing and drugs in exchange for cost savings on things like hospitalization, admissions, etc. So I think that's going to be the biggest transformation that occurs over the next 5 years.
Well, that's a very exciting vision, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share it all with us. This is Jonathan Hirsch. My name is Kate Warnock. We'll be back with you again soon.